Welcome back for another drawing lesson. This week we're doing something pretty exciting, and for the next few weeks we're going to visit different places around the world, and we're going to have a look at some landmarks and architecture that exists around the world in different places, even here in Australia as well. You don't need a lot to do this lesson. Today we're actually going to be doing the Eiffel Tower. Do you know where that is? Oui, yes, that's right, in France, in Paris. So we're going to be drawing the Eiffel Tower today. A pretty complex structure. However, it's not going to be that complex for us because we're not going to be putting every bolt into our piece of work. So what do you need? You need some paper to draw on. It doesn't matter what size, again. It could be any size piece of paper, and you'll need something to draw with, like a grey lead pencil, maybe a marker, and then some things to colour in with as well, because we'll do a bit of colour in the background. The Eiffel Tower itself, I think we're going to just do a bit of a grey sort of black look to that. So not a lot of colour in the Eiffel Tower itself, but the background component will have some colour in it. Having said that, girls and boys, let's go and get creative. Okay everyone, your supplies ready, your piece of paper, whatever size it is up to you. I always use A4 paper, but it doesn't really matter what size it is. It could be A3, could be bigger than that, could be smaller than that, could be a notepad. I'm going to go with the grey lead first up, just to get my line work right, and then I'm going to go over it with a Sharpie when I'm done. So as I said, we are drawing landmarks around the world, and the first one we're doing is the Eiffel Tower. And I did mention that already. Where is it? Paris, France. So, pretty popular place. Lots of people visit it every year. So I thought we would give it a go. So first things first, what we need to do is, just as a good guide, you can measure this if you like with a ruler. How wide is the piece of paper? 21 centimeters, which means, what's that? 10.5 is the middle of the page. Now what you can do, you can measure that if you like. It doesn't have to be exact, but because I've got a ruler, I'm just going to do a bit of a guideline for my Eiffel Tower work here, and I'll rub that out later on. You can also do one down this way if you like. So what have we got here? 29.5. So that is going to be 14.25, which is about the middle. So there we go. I'm just going to do a really light guideline there, just to divide my page up so you can use it to guide where you're drawing things. So that to start. If you want to, you can just go straight into it, doesn't really matter. I like to have it there just so I can place things correctly on my page. Now let's go. First step, what we need to do first is draw 3 rectangles. Remember, like the platforms on the Eiffel Tower. The first one, you don't want to draw it too close to the top, because we need to draw a little spire or spike on top of the Eiffel Tower. So probably around about here would be good. So what's that, about 4 centimeters, 3 or 4 centimeters, probably 4 centimeters or 5, so even 5 would be alright from the top of the page. Now again, use your center line to help you with how big that needs to be. Now you can sketch this if you like, it doesn't have to be exact. So you want to make sure you've got pretty much the same sort of sides of the rectangle on each side of that center line. So there. Next, we're going to draw one down here, way down here, and this one is, again, it's probably about twice the size of that first one. The thickness of it is about the same. So what I'm going to do here, just about that far underneath the that centre guideline that we drew, which we'll rub them out later. I'm going to make that about twice the size of this. So if you see how big that is there, you're going to do it twice, about twice the size that it is there. Okay, that's about twice. And then do the same thing on the other side. Going across here. Now remember, these are just rough guides. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, you want that sort of thickness like we've got with this one, which is around about that. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. And then we want to draw the last one. Now this last one's it wouldn't be twice the size of this one, but just a little bit bigger, and it is around about this distance away. So if you can see how far, it's a bit thicker than a ruler worth. It's probably about maybe two rulers worth that you're going to draw this one away. Actually, it's probably about one ruler's worth, maybe 1.5. So I'm going to do it about here, somewhere there. And this one goes out to about here. So you can see how far I'm going past. If you were to draw a line up there, it's not that much further than this. Now I can rub those out, but you can see how far away I'm making the width of that line. If you just draw a really light line, you can see how big to do that. And you'll rub everything out later anyway. So again, same thickness, or round about the same thickness as these ones, like that, there and there. Now remember, these are just a guide because I'm going to go over it with Sharpie later. Now what we're going to do is our Eiffel Tower, which we've already been doing. So again, if you need to make any modifications, do that. If you're not happy with something, rub it out, do it again. Make sure you're not pressing too hard with that grey lead. Now, what we're going to do here is join these two up with some legs for the Eiffel Tower. Now, those come... There's my doorbell. Those come to about here somewhere. So you're probably about a ruler off the bottom of the page, something like that, a ruler thickness. So what do we do here? We can, actually what I'll do first, I'll draw these lines here. I'll draw these lines here first, just to make it a bit easier for us. And what we do is, off the corner of this bottom one, we draw one of the legs, and you can imagine that'll be going straight through up to that second one there, that second platform. So bring that down like that, out through here, something like that, and bring it down to about there. And then we want to do the same thing. Actually, we'll do the thickness of these first. Now these legs are about as thick as those platforms. So we'll just do the thickness of these, coming through here like that, come down, stop about there, and you can draw that line going across for the base of that leg, something like that. Now we want to do the same thing on the other side here. So to that corner, we want to have a little bit of that corner sticking out there, but nothing over here. So down there we go to there, onto that corner, there, and this one just a little bit sticking out. Okay, so that'll be like something like this. There, stop, pick your pencil up and then go back down again to a roundabout. If you want to, what you can do is draw a line, again another guideline, and that's about right where I've got that one. And then we want to do our thickness of that leg the same as this one, which is around about something like that. Yes, I think so. Go up there, stop, and there again. There's those two legs. Now you can rub all this out later, don't worry about too much now, because I'm going to go over it with a Sharpie to make it look a bit better. Bottom of that leg. So there's those two legs. That's our start. Now what we want to do now is continue these up to the top of the tower where the spire is going to be. So what we need to do here is continue that thickness basically, and it gets a little bit thinner as it goes up, but we want to continue this thickness going up like this, and this is a bit of a long curved line. The first part of it, if you want, you can actually, I wouldn't mind sketching this part to be honest, and put my ruler away. So get rid of the ruler and just sketch, and what you're going to do is do more of a curve here, curving from there to make it look like this leg's going straight through. So you want to go somewhere like that. You can even just sort of draw that in like that. We'll rub that out later, but from here we want to curve down until that curve, we really want it to start somewhere around here. Have this sort of coming straight first and then curving something like that. Around about there you want it to bend to go into that straight line. Now I need to do the same thing over here, and that will be what we have coming down, and that curve comes into play there, something like that. Okay, so that's how we do that part of the tower. So you do the same thing on the other side now. Pretty much touching there, and when we do the Sharpie, that'll be pretty much, these two things will be touching, very very close to touching anyway. So again, come down like this and start your bend. You can see where the bend's starting about here somewhere. Bend out like this is coming through and joining up. Remember, we'll rub these lines out and then bring that one down, and that starts to bend from about there coming down to there. So that is around about the shape that we want, something like that. Okay, now if you're not happy with it, rub it out, do it again, have a bit of a play with it and see what you come up with. Yeah, that's what the beauty of using a pencil is all about. If we can make, I'll have a couple of goes and see what we can do better if we need to do it better. So often we do it pretty well the first time, sometimes it takes a bit of practice. So okay, so next step, what we need to do is draw the spire part on top of the Eiffel Tower here, and what that is a couple of straight lines like this, two little straight lines like so, around about there, and then all that does then is come in like this, something like that, and you can see it make them, you've got that guideline there so you can see if they're a similar shape. You want it to be quite symmetrical, and then come across like that, join those up, and then go into the spike on top, which would be just a straight line really, just like that, and it can almost go right to the top of the page there, like so. Okay, that will be the top of the Eiffel Tower. Now, next we need to start adding a few details. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to sketch this in. I'm going to do a line coming across here like this. So I'm going to start working on putting the metal look, the steel structure of it, to make it look like it's actually the Eiffel Tower. So line across there, then you're going to start putting in some things like this. Try and spread those out evenly. And again, you've got your centre line to help you out there. There and there. So, like that. Next one, this one down here, we're going to do the same sort of thing. How many? Probably about 6 or 7 of them, 8 maybe. So do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 of them maybe. 8 or so of those. Something like that. And one in the middle, of course. There'll be one in the middle there too. Okay, and then again I'm going to be going over these with Sharpie, so I'll fix those up. And then the same sort of thing here as well, about the same sort of distance. You've got the centre line there, and then you can try and line them up if you want. They might be a little bit further apart, that's alright though. Something like that. Something like that. Anyway, it doesn't have to be perfect. As I said, I don't think anyone's going to be counting how many of those you have there. Okay, next part of the process for this Eiffel Tower is to put in a bit more of the steel structure supporting stuff underneath here. And what that looks like is we're going to have, first of all, a bit of a curve, like an arc. So if you've got something round, you could use that to do this shape, but I'm just going to sort of freehand it and come down like that. Make sure it's around about the same spot over here where it touches. Something like that. Okay, and again, I've got lots of lines there, but I'll be rubbing those out when I'm when I've done my Sharpie part. So, what am I up to? Okay, so now what we have here is some supporting steel, and that basically goes right over here, all the way across over here. So if you wanted to, you could use a ruler, which is sort of helpful because you can do that from there to there, and you know you're going to get this thing pretty close to what it needs to be, because that one joins up just underneath here. I'd say onto that maybe, from this one all the way across over there, and then the same sort of thing this way, from around there all the way across over to the other side at around about the same sort of height. Again, not perfect. You can see my centre line. That should actually cross in the centre, but it's not a big deal. That's okay. If you want to get that perfect, do it again so that you've got everything in its right place. Something like that anyway. So next, maybe what I'll do is I'll just set that a little higher there. There we go. And that crosses now nicely. I'll rub that out a bit later. So you can see those two where they cross there and there. Now, next, I've just got to do a couple of little bits on the legs here, and that's going to look like this. At about that height, draw a line and a line, and then come down underneath that line there where those ones ended up, those diagonals, and what I'm going to do is do that. So I've got one on each side looking like that. And then what happens here is just a couple of lines to make it look a bit more detailed. A bit more detail in the steel, something like that. Something like that. Okay, next I need to now get a bit more of that crisscross look into the steel here and also here. So again, you can do this by eye, corner to corner, something like that. So corner to corner on the diagonals, corner to corner there, and then also in these ones here, we want them in there and there. So corner to corner, corner to corner, something like that. Remember, you're going to go over it with a Sharpie, so don't be too worried about it. Have a number of lines and then fix it up once you've got the right sort of shape or angle for these ones. Corner to corner, corner to corner. Okay, it's starting to look a bit Eiffel Towerish. Now, this part here is basically just doing the crisscross look all the way up. Now, to get that right on both sides, you probably want to use a ruler just to get them sort of straight. So, or even even on both sides. So I recommend use a ruler for this part. We want about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look, it doesn't matter exactly, but 9 or 10 of these. So 1, 2, around about the same size too, or they can get a little bit smaller as you go up. 3, 4. I'm not going to get that many in, so that's alright though. 5, 6. They can get smaller as you go up. 7, 8. I'm going to get you about 8 in there, which is okay. That's fine. Or 9 maybe. If I break that in half, that'll make that last one in half. There. That's good. Okay, so what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I did get 10. But this one's a little bit squished. But that's okay because they actually get smaller as you go up to the top anyway. So, again, crisscross like we did down here. We're going to have this all the way up to the corners, from corner to corner, corner to corner. There. Okay, so that's all the way up, and that really gives it that Eiffel Tower feel, doesn't it? So there's that one, and then we go this side. Remember, these are just a rough guide because I'm going to go over it with Sharpie. If you wanted to just do this in pencil, you'd try and do it a little bit more accurately, but I'm going to be rubbing out all these pencil lines when I'm done with the Sharpie, and it should look okay. So keep going all the way up to the top. That one wasn't very good, goodness me. And that last one there. Okay, looking pretty good, like the Eiffel Tower. So the last thing to finish this off is just to add a bit of background stuff, a bit of vegetation and a couple of clouds. So I'm going to do a cloud here, sort of a flat bottom on the cloud. Then you can make your cloud look like however you want really. There's one cloud, and here's another one. I'm going to do it a little bit lower maybe, so it's not in the same place or plane. Sort of flat bottom on it, and then another cloud there. Then some vegetation. This will be sort of like the horizon line, but it'll be a bit all over the place because it's going to be like there's a bunch of vegetation behind the Eiffel Tower, and it goes something like this through. I want it just to come underneath this arch here, so it can come a little bit higher in here, and then so it's all over the all over the place, this horizon line, because it's all vegetation everywhere. And then I can do in through down here, I can do some things like this to make it look like there's vegetation everywhere. And there we have it. There's the pencil part of the Eiffel Tower. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to speed things up and I'm going to go over it with Sharpie and then add some grey for a steel type colour to the Eiffel Tower, and covering the sky and the vegetation. I'll do some rubbing out after I've done the Sharpie and then do the colour part. But I'm going to speed that up so you guys don't get too bored sitting there watching me do it. I hope you enjoy this activity. We've visited Paris, or Paris, and the Eiffel Tower. Where are we going to go next week? You'll have to stay tuned. Bye for now.
Sweetheart.